So I got another comment this week that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I think we're sort of talking about it a little bit here. Um, so this was on a video I did a long time ago about no such thing as a great gives no such thing as gay Christians, and completely missing the point. And I think it's of Romans chapter 1. Anyhow, I did this video in response to a sermon that I heard from another pastor who was using Romans chapter 1 and showing his congregation why being gay is bad, right? And he says, it says they're deserving of death and they're this and they're that and da 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 da. Well, Romans chapter 1, of course, leads to Romans chapter 2, which leads to Romans chapter 3. So if you read the whole thing, you actually find out all of us are sinners, and this is where it comes from, right? This is where sin comes from, and Paul sort of tells us that it's because we think we know better, and we ignore God, and we go about our merry way, and God, in God's infinite wisdom, lets us. Go ahead, do your thing. And then Paul goes on to describe a bunch of things that he was seeing in his Judeo-Christian, not Judeo-Christian, Roman, his Roman Mediterranean kind of worldview, in his Roman Mediterranean world. And he says these are different things that I've seen. Anyway, the person here asks, because the point of the video was really Romans chapter 2, verse 1, which is, "But don't you dare judge because you are no better." And this person says, "So we can never condemn? Question mark. Are we supposed to accept sin? Question mark." Now, I responded, I don't think I was even snarky about this. I just responded something along the lines of, no, we should love. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But we should love. That's our job. We should love. And we should set aside our desire to correct people. We should love them and set aside our desire to correct them. We should love them and set aside our desire to judge them. We should love them and set aside our desire to find reasons why they're not as good as us. They responded with a passage from 1 Corinthians, which said, I wouldn't even sit down with people who do these kinds of things, where Paul is quite literally judging people and saying we should cast them out and we should be rid of them and we shouldn't spend time with them. And he goes on to tell us who all these different kinds of people are. So the question, of course, is really, does the Bible tell us to judge or not? You're going to be able to find a verse that tells you what you want to hear. Paul in Romans chapter 2 literally says, don't judge. Paul in 1 Corinthians says, judge, according to that piece. And I can't remember what verse it was, but Paul tells us you should judge. You have to understand when you're reading Paul that Paul is addressing a particular problem. Paul is addressing a particular city who have expressed a particular issue. They have told him, hey man, this is what's going on. Any advice? And Paul's going, yeah, here's some advice. And so we really don't know what's going on. We have a pretty decent idea, but we don't know exactly what it was that the Corinthians, for example, were telling him that they needed help with when he responded to them, when he sent them this letter. It wasn't that he just went, you know what? I think the Corinthians need to hear this. No, he was responding to their context. He's not talking to me in my context. All I can do is read his words and glean whatever wisdom I can and apply it to my world. So here's the thing. When it comes to this, so we can't ever condemn? No. You can't ever condemn. You can't ever condemn because you're not perfect. You can't ever condemn because you are not living the Christian life perfectly. And I'm not speaking just to that commentary. I'm saying that to every person who's ever going to hear this. I cannot condemn because I am not living perfectly. All I can do is say, I want to learn from this. I want to learn from this person. I want to learn from what they're going through. I want to learn from their mistakes. I want to learn from what I see to be, a bad choice. I want to learn from it. I want to make sure that I don't follow them down that path, but I'm not going to condemn them. I'm not going to condemn them. I've done videos lately where I've said, hey, such and such preacher or such and such leader has done this and we can't do that. No, we don't condemn. We don't judge. We love. We love and we learn. We love and we learn, and we make sure that if we are seeing people who are living in ways that we think, oy, oy vey, that's morally speaking, we really shouldn't be doing that, we don't follow. So clear. Like if I believe that something is immoral, then me telling you that they are immoral, it's not enough. It's not even a good idea. I don't want to be that way. That's the right thing. Our job is to love. Okay? Our job is to love, and our job is to learn. And we are called to love on a radical level. We are called to forgive. We are called to love and pray for our enemies. Right? Like, not only, well, be nice to them and civil. I'm supposed to love them. I'm supposed to provide for them, take care of them if need be. I'm supposed to give to them. And Jesus says, well, you give to your family, but you love your family. You love your friends. What you give to people that you love. What benefit is that? What reward is there in that? No. You got to give to people that don't deserve it. You got to love people that don't deserve it. You've got to forgive people that don't deserve it. You've got to show mercy to people that don't deserve it. You've got to be gentle, and you've got to be kind to those who don't deserve it. This is the Christian walk, right? So no, we don't condemn. We don't condemn, even if they deserve it. We love, and we learn, and we adapt, and we learn some more, and we love some more, and this becomes the cycle. This is our cycle. I'm going to love you so I can learn, so I can adapt, so I can love you at a greater level, so I can love you more, so I can learn, so I can adapt, so I can love the next person, right? This is our call. This is enough. This is enough work for us. Loving our neighbors, it requires all of our attention. It requires all of our focus. It requires all of our energy. It requires all of our time. If we're truly loving our neighbors, so, you come back to the question, so what, we can never condemn? Where will you find the time to condemn if you're loving people the way Jesus said to love them? Where will you find time to condemn and to judge if you are loving your neighbors the way Jesus says to love your neighbors? Where will you find the time to condemn and to judge people if you are doing all the things that Jesus tells us to do? Right? Spend your resources, spend those most precious resources you have, that time and that energy, spend those resources doing the things that Jesus does tell you to do. Like, we judge and we condemn because it makes us feel safe. It makes us feel superior. It makes us feel holy. It makes us feel pious. It makes us feel as though we are above others. That's why we do it. It's a matter of safety, and it's a matter of comfort. I'm going to judge you because if I judge you, at least there's one person who's less than me. And then I'm going to judge them, and I'm going to judge them, and maybe I'll judge an entire people group. And that way I can say, well, all that whole people group, they are less than me. Now, I might not do it with a smile on my face because, I'll be sad for them because they're less than me, and, because I want to be holy and pious. But that's why we do it. We do it to make ourselves feel better. We do it to raise ourselves up above others. Paul's words to the Romans is, don't, because you ain't better than anybody else. Don't, because you are a sinner too. Don't, because you are just as bad as the worst of the people that you can point your finger at. So learn and love and learn more and adapt and learn more and love and adapt. Spend your time and your energy doing what Jesus told you to do. And here's my theological advice. Listen, all of us, there are people that all of us want to point our fingers at. There are people that all of us want to say they suck. We're going to talk about somebody here in just a second. And literally, I think that's how I wrote down the title when I thought about it, was This Guy Sucks, because of something that he said. I just can't even believe another human being would say this about an entire group of human beings. So that's what I wrote down. I want to judge. I want to condemn. And I hope it doesn't come across that way. It may indeed come across that way, but I hope it doesn't. All of us want to condemn. But if we choose to spend our most valuable resources, our love and our focus and our attention, our time, if we choose to spend our resources loving people, as Jesus told us to love people, the failings of theirs, they'll go away. They'll leave us. We'll stop looking for them. We won't have the time. And number two, we'll see them as our equals. And we won't want to judge them. And we won't want to condemn them, because we will see them for who they really are. But the second reason is that as we love them and we enter into a relationship with them, if we believe they are living in ways that are wrong, we won't ever have to tell them. They'll see in us the love. They'll see in us Christ. In our relationship with them, they will know the love of God, and God will convict them to change. They'll want to let go of the things that they're doing, the things about themselves that you think might be wrong. They'll let that stuff go as God places it on their heart to let it go. If they're looking at you as an example, if they see in you an example of who Jesus was, and they know that Jesus was an example of God walking among us here, the presence of God walking among us here, they'll choose to want to walk this way. And as they choose to want to walk this way, they will see that there are aspects of their lives that they must let go of in order to embrace on a deeper level this lifestyle. Love is so powerful. Loving like Christ in this world is so ridiculously powerful. We do not give it near enough credit. Again, it's the human condition, right? We sort of talked about tyranny. I want you to change now. Boom. We don't need to. Love, which is incredibly difficult, is so powerful. It will bring change in ways that you and I, could never possibly expect. Just love. Provide. Take care of them. Meet their needs. Allow them, through witnessing your action, through witnessing your behaviors, through hearing your words, to see Jesus at work, to hear Jesus speaking. They'll want to follow. Not you, they'll want to follow him. They'll want more of him if they experience his love through you. And that ultimately is the thing that leads them to change. And you don't never ever have to say a condemning word ever. Amen.